Morning, everyone. Did a little bit of a impromptu Bible study last night, and I just wanted to share kind of what I came across as a biblical truth. It's a hard biblical truth, but it'll keep us renewed in our minds and in our perspective today, especially in how we view the things that come at us, the problems and the issues. So we went into Job a little bit. Right, we started there because we wanted to look at a man that had truly lost what the world would say was everything, right? Even though I think he did know that he still had everything because he had a relationship with God. He was considered favored. He was considered righteous by God, and still, the Lord allowed the enemy to move in and take everything: his health, his wife, his children, all of his possessions, and even his just peace of mind for a time. And saying those few things out loud is very easy, but experiencing any one of those things individually is very extremely difficult. So we look at that and we saw Job lose everything, but still he was in right standing with God. And we're going to hop back to Job. But then we moved into Ecclesiastes, which gives us perspectives on the things that he lost, in that it's vanity of vanities. All things in this earth, apart from a relationship with God, all things. Okay, I'm not just talking about, the things, the physical things. I'm talking about your relationships, your spouse, your children, all of those things. Gifts as they are, meaningless they are in comparison to your relationship with God, which is wild to think about, but it's true. How much higher is God than those things that we may put up as gods in our life and begin to lift them up as idols? It could be your spouse, it could be your kids, it could be your stuff, it could be a certain level of comfort, a certain level of whatever you're chasing after that may elevate themselves up to where you place God. It needs to be suppressed. So that's just for the perspective. And then we hopped into James, and when those things are taken, that do have problems come up, that God has already began a work of perfecting you in your faith, in your walk, in your spirituality, and in your sanctification. It says so in His Word. So before you even enter into a problem of whether it's loss, whether it's an issue, loss of peace, loss of comfort, loss of the way you wanted it to go, that's my biggest one. The way I wanted it to go, right? That God is working on something. He's working on something in you. He's working all things for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purposes, which I praise you. He has a plan to strengthen you in it, so that when it hits, you can sit on that, and you can rest in the fact that it's giving you a perspective, ecclesiastical perspective of understanding that He is the one we need to be at most in relationship with. I'm not saying that going through these losses and things doesn't hurt. They hurt like crazy. They hurt like anything and everything. But this is the perspective that the Lord has left us, is that He is the Most High, and that we are to take everything else as truly never for granted, right? Truly as a blessing every day. Now we're hopping back into Job, right? Because the ultimate purpose of this thing and in sanctifying you and in from James to sanctifying you, to working those things, out in faith in you, to the ecclesiastical perspective of those things that we encounter, the value we have given them is truly vanity besides a relationship with God. And we see what the ultimate end of Job's trial was. It wasn't just restoration. That's a nice little extra. God didn't have to do that, but He wanted to because it pleased Him. But what He did was draw Job nearer to God, draw Job into a deeper understanding of who God is, in a deeper relationship. And that is ultimately what He is trying to do to us at all times through sanctification. It's not to show the outward working of the sanctification, but to have you draw nearer unto Him. So as we draw nearer unto Him, as He draws us nearer unto Him, right? So He will draw near to us. Praise God for that. And He's the one who puts that drive to draw near to Him there to begin with. So this was a long one, but I hope you see the progression here and the layout that the Lord has given us in times of loss, in times of stress, in times of need, in times of tribulation, because it's there. It's there. The Lord gave you comfort in it. He says, I'm working. He says the value you may have placed on it might have been too high. And he says that it's all going to lead to a deeper peace and relationship with me. What a perfect, amazing God. Take care, guys.